Well, this all started actually probably back in 1998 when David Bowie was invited to perform in a film called Everybody Loves Sunshine. And it's because of the confidence that the Film Commission and the writer, producer and actor Andrew Goff had at the time to bring the film to the Isle of Man, Everybody Loves Sunshine, that about 6 or 7 years ago, Paul Ford, who was with me in Stamps and Coins, said, we really should celebrate the fact that David Bowie came to the Isle of Man all those years ago and performed in Everybody Loves Sunshine. So we started this journey, and we've had lots of ups and downs and licensing challenges, but we've stuck at it, and pleased to say that along the way we approached Jonathan Barnbrook, who was David Bowie's designer, and he designed the Black Star album. Nicholas Pegg, who has written a book about Bowie and is considered an authority on the works of David Bowie. And of course Mark Kermode, because the theme of our stamps is David Bowie the actor, an aspect of Bowie's eclectic career that's not often recognised, but particularly with the release of Moon Age Daydream, which is opening at the Villa Cinema on Friday, it's very apt and appropriate that we should look at 8 films that David performed in. These are 8 of what are considered his best.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing Moon Age Daydream. I have to say, the documentary has been critically acclaimed. In fact, Mark Kermode said it was one of his favourites, which is fabulous. Referring back to Bowie being here on the island, it's lovely because the director you mentioned, Andrew Goff, of Everybody Loves Sunshine, remembered the time that they were here working on that film. And he said, Bowie told me how much he liked being on the island. And I love this idea that he said he'd been to see Peel Castle and Castle Rushen because medieval history was one of his big interest, and he introduced Bowie to chicken tikka masala on the Isle of Man.
Well, I know, and actor Tony was one of the extras at the time, and he was in our office a couple of weeks ago telling us that he would drive David Bowie around, and he actually was with the cast for 6 weeks. Some of his recollections of David Bowie being here were fascinating, particularly when they were up at Russian mines and it was absolutely freezing cold, and David would be knitting. And one of the things he used to do was knit to pass the time between takes. And of course, the guys down at Douglas Power Station, where another of the scenes were set, were thrilled when David took time out to do signings for them. And on our issue day, we had a little get-together down at the power station to put up a huge banner replicating the scene where David Bowie, Andrew Goff, Goldie were all coming out of the power station area as part of the film set. So what a tribute to the can-do attitude of 1998, where this was only film number... Hilary Dugdale was telling me this was film number 17. So really in the infancy of Isle of Man film, and to bring such a superstar to the island.
Well, exactly, and there's going to be a lot of people who will have met him or crossed paths with him while he was here, and a lot of people like me who wish they had. I have to say, what a person to see wandering around the streets of Douglas. And the stamps themselves, so obviously we know Everybody Loves Sunshine is on there, but also we've got, I'm so delighted you managed to get Jareth the Goblin King from Labyrinth on there as well.
Yes.
Labyrinth is, again, such a cult film, isn't it? I mean, it must have been quite a challenge to get, as you said, the licensing to be able to use imagery like this.
We were on a Zoom call with the Jim Henson Company in California, chatting. They were so excited to see Labyrinth on a stamp that had been approved by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth a few months ago. And I thought, my goodness, you must have had loads of excitement. But they'd never had one of their productions on stamp, as far as they were aware. And for the Isle of Man to be in conversation with them, and, you know, we've put Labyrinth onto the stamp, they were just overwhelmed. I say it's a great tribute to all the people who've stuck with us on this very long journey. We don't give up easily once we dig in. And the other thing that we must recognise is this is homegrown. While Jonathan has been the lead designer, he's been very ably assisted by Emma Cook of EJC Design and in-house with Paul. The printing has, apart from the stamps, has been done on Ireland. And a whole range of people locally have come together to produce what was deemed worthy of being launched on the official David Bowie fan site that's to 6.2 million fans. So this comes with its own legacy, really, for so many things, you know, from so many points of view.
And to have the three legs on every stamp is absolutely brilliant. And as you said, you know, there's some wonderful quotes from those who are involved. You know, you've got the photographer of the final portrait saying it's a special and rare accolade to be on an Isle of Man postage stamp. The photographer and friend of David Bowie, Jeff McCormack from The Man Who Fell to Earth, saying how amused and proud he is to be on an Isle of Man stamp as well, and is very grateful for the opportunity. All these people, Jeremy Thomas from Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, wonderful to see the image of David on the Manx stamp, very unusual. So it is fantastic because it's also getting the Isle of Man, as you said, out there. And of course, also, as you mentioned, approved by Her Royal Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II. So would this be the last set of stamps that will have been approved by Her Majesty for the Isle of Man?
No, but the stamps were launched on the 7th of September, and sadly, Queen Elizabeth, the Lord of Man, passed away on the 8th. We have our Christmas stamps, because they were also already approved, coming out at the beginning of November. So it's possible they might be the last with Her Majesty the Queen's cipher on. But certainly David Bowie, across the world, the stamps have been sold far and wide. And in the next few weeks we'll have a special stamp album available. I mean, you can pre-order it at the moment, and we're very hopeful there'll be a signed version of that with key collaborators signing the stamp album that brings everything, you know, all the stamp sheets together in one place. So it's just so rewarding. I'm sure anyone who knows the work of Jonathan Barnbrook will appreciate that he's really top of the tree as a designer, and for him to stay with us and go through all the trials and tribulations to produce, to see the final collection is just amazing, and very humbling that people still value a postage stamp and seeing their work featured on it. So I'm really quite amazed.
Well, I have to say, as images go, David Bowie is one who it just feels absolutely perfect to have captured on Isle of Man stamps, because just from a visual point of view, he was a fascinating person, wasn't he? To have his acting career celebrated in this way is really rather special, with our Isle of Man all over these stamps as well. So we can only say thank you, really, Max, for making this happen, because it is quite a triumph to have these set of stamps out. And of course, you can get them now. They have been released, as Max said, so you can get them if you go and have a look at iompost.com/Bowie. And there is a Bowie box as well with lots more exciting stuff in there, so worth checking that out. We've got some tickets to give away to Moon Age Daydream. It's getting great reviews, this, Max, isn't it?
Oh yes, one of the people who will be there is Gordon Fairweather, a Bowie fan at the time of the filming, and followed the film cast around. He got some of his items personally signed by David, And the thing that he said was that David Bowie was just, he had no airs and graces about him. He was very, very genuine, really wanted anybody who took the time to go to the set to be able to access him and sign things, and that was the same at the Power Station. So it's one of those all-time greats for so many different reasons. And if you want to watch Jonathan Barnbrook talk about the journey of the stamp from his initial thoughts to the actual production, there's a series of little film clips on our website that give an insight to the backstory, and they're very well worth watching.
Thank you, Max. We'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much. Happy days, everyone.